Tech billionaire Elon Musk said X was hit by a major cyber attack after reports of problems with the social media platform started to do the rounds. Several users in Asia, Europe and North America said that they could not access the platform. In a post on social media, Musk said that there was a massive attack against X. He shared a post from an account, Doge Designer, suggesting that the attack was another burst of animosity towards him. In line with recent protests against the Department of Government Efficiency that he leads and the vandalization of Tesla facilities, Musk speculated that such an attack would take tremendous resources and that it was the work of a country or large coordinated group. Moreover, during an interview for Fox Business, he alleged that computers used in the attack appear to have digital addresses in Ukraine area and that X was still trying to figure out exactly what happened. All right, for more on this, we're now being joined by Michael Owens from Georgia. He is the president of U.S. Global Center for Cyber Policy. Thank you so much for joining us on WION World is One. Let's just get right into this. An attack of this scale, of course, Musk is saying that a large group or even a nation could be behind it. As I mentioned, he has said that some of the addresses were from the Ukraine area. How do you assess the severity of this?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. And you know, with any attack like this, first and foremost, a lot of these attacks are coordinated attacks, but one of the hardest things to do in this arena is attribution, which means to determine where the attack actually came from and ultimately who was behind it. So, early on in an attack such as this, you do look at the scope and the scale of it to determine what entities out there possibly could have launched this type of attack. And, this attack was called a denial of service attack. Basically, it is when an entity or a group of attackers basically flood your website, right? They flood your IP addresses, which in essence cause a denial of service, which means it just overloads your account or your server so it cannot respond. And sometimes it even shuts down those servers.
Right now, a DNS attack of such scale, of course, we know that there has been a lot that's going on when it comes to Ukraine and the United States as well. There's been a lot of backlash when it comes to Doge also. How do you think all of this ties in? We know that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is in Saudi Arabia for talks. How will those pan out? This allegation, I mean, they haven't confirmed it yet, but they do say that some of the IP addresses were from the Ukraine area. So how do you assess the impact and practical implications of this?
At this point in time, I really take that with a grain of salt, particularly what we've seen happen over the last couple of weeks with the U.S. administration and President Zelensky even being in the U.S. And the very disastrous meeting that took place with President Zelensky and President Trump. Elon Musk has known to put things on his website or via on X. And this, I think, is one of those instances where he tracked said he tracked IP addresses back and it came back to Ukraine. I have had some information and been told that from what was being told and known, that is highly unlikely the case. It could be some IP addresses that are known addresses from Ukraine, but that definitely does not mean the Ukrainian government or anyone in Ukraine was actually behind this. I worry a bit that this is a little bit of political posturing, given Elon Musk's position within the Trump administration in the White House. Time will tell. The research will be done on this more to kind of tell where this came from. But at this point in time, I am a bit concerned that politics is kind of just getting into the mix of this a little bit instead of looking exactly what the data tells us.
Right, and I just wanted to expand on that further. And of course, as you mentioned, that there's been a lot of backlash when it comes to Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency. And then we hear of this attack. Again, just for our viewers, I wanted to understand the broader implications of this.
So the cyber attacks, unfortunately, as we know, is not new. And when you have someone like Elon Musk, the world's richest person, who has firmly planted himself within the U.S. government, amongst multiple things that he has in his assets and his companies and SpaceX and even the Starlink that he talked about. There were some troubling discussions or troubling reports that had came out, and Elon Musk had talked about how the Starlink system is the only thing that's keeping certain international entities afloat, or this war between Russia and Ukraine, with President Trump's discussions about having this war stop really soon. It could be. A lot of times with these cyber attacks, you look at motive, you look at capability or capacity. Who could launch an attack like this? But you also look at the motive. There was an early report. I think it's now been deleted from an organization that said they were taking responsibility for it. But again, they went back and deleted that now. So, but there are cybersecurity experts out there that are already debunking Musk's claim of Ukrainian involvement, simply saying that there is nothing substantial that's pointing to it. And, there's IP addresses from worldwide on these type of attacks, because it does take 40, 50, 60, 100,000 different devices all pointing at X at one point in time. You have to think just how large X is, formerly known as Twitter. It's an incredibly large, complicated web presence that hosts millions and millions of people every day. So to think of the scope and scale, the size of attack that it would take to cripple a website like X, and then you really start to figure out, really the scale of which this attack really took.
All right, well, Mr. Owens, thank you so much for joining us on WION World as One with your insights on this.
You're welcome. Thank you. Happy to be here.